Hello, divine, beautiful souls. This is Energy Speaks Podcast with your host, Catriel. So I'm doing things a little bit differently because I finally arrived in Israel. And wow. The journey that I have just witnessed, experienced, is unbelievable. So, let me give you a little bit of a background. Since the last time we've spoken, I was getting prepared to take this, huge journey. And then, what has happened since then? Well, this past week I've had to pack, repack again, and then another repacking. And just to make sure that I could get my stuff, for a good 5 months, to spend time at the yeshiva, I needed to get it all here. Clothes, bedding, things that would make me feel comfortable, that reminded me of home, And, of course, bringing my little gator, Nathan. He's not so little, he's big. Well, after doing all of that, I also had to, meet with different people, say my goodbyes, and also, get a couple extra things in financially, Get my affairs in order. And then, I had gotten every paperwork, everything that I needed for my journey. And the day of me departing, January 11th, I got to the airport and I was denied boarding. And I was like, why? And I had filled out this entry form. I couldn't even tell you how many times. Probably 40. And as I kept filling it out, hoping that the answer would change or that I could get some clarification because there was no reasoning of why, I just, went forward with the process and reached out, to everyone, like the yeshiva and Masa to try to assist me or see what was going on. Well, finally, I get to that airport, I'm denied, boarding, and the person at the desk did her best to try to help me. But because it was probably about 5 in the afternoon in Israel, that's like the middle of the night. So there's nothing I could really get done until 1 in the morning, essentially, Eastern Standard Time, because it would be like 8 a.m. here in Israel. And so, that's awesome to say here in Israel. So then after doing that, I had to rebook my flight. I rebooked it for the 13th, but she had asked me, did I want to do the one at 7:45 a.m. on the 12th the next morning, which would be not very much time to work on this process. So I get home, I'm amped up. I'm wanting to talk to everyone and anyone who could assist me. I spoke to my mama Laura and my mommy Penny and Rabbi Danny. I thank you so much. One, mommy Penny for taking me to the airport and the first time. Number two, Mama Laura trying to make sure that I had everything in order and if I had to take another round of the COVID testing, that I was set up for it, which wasn't needed, thank goodness. Baruch Hashem. And then Rabbi Danny every step of the way literally helped me, and Rabbi David as well. But it was so wild because Rabbi Danny sent an email out to the head of the conservative yeshiva, and energetically, I will tell you that shifted everything. Energy speaks. It really is true. When you speak something out, the energy behind it matters. And so then, as we're working through this process, about an hour later, a member from CY that helps us to enter the country, she contacts me, and through email, and starts this process. And so then, I'm sure it had to have been at least 5 a.m. her time. And so then I end up getting in contact with my advisor, Miriam. And oh my goodness, we worked so hard. We tag teamed, talking with the airline, talking with the Ministry of Health. Almost said Ministry of Magic. That's what it turned out to be. And throughout that process, I ended up rebooking my flight, and still maintaining the same, seats that I got. It was absolutely incredible, like this process of working together. And then, as we were talking back and forth, and there's a thought at one moment, where I might have to rebook my flight through another airline like LL or something. And but what happened was as soon as I did that, or as soon as we were talking over this option, my friend Renata, she calls me, messages me on WhatsApp and asks me, "Hey, have you left for Israel yet?" And I told her, "No, there's a lot going on. We're trying to shift it." And she says, "Well, you should definitely look at this week's Torah portion." And I was like, yes, I should. Yes, I will. And she's like, "Yeah, it's all about the story of Moses parting the Red Sea." And I'm like, of course it is. Of course. And you know what? I read the Parsha. I read it all the way through, and I get to the part, where Moses is parting the Red Sea. He has his staff. And it just speaks of how Hashem and his connection to Hashem, like how everything shifts and changes. And it was because Moses had faith. Moses had an incredible amount of faith, even though he was leading the Israelite tribe that may not have, completely agreed with everything he was doing or how he was instructed. But you know what? He had the faith to be able to stand there and say, "No, Hashem is what got me here and allowed me to be in this position. And he will grant me access and us access because that's what Hashem said was going to happen." And so as I'm reading this, I get into this mentality, this channel mode of envisioning all of the roadblocks that have been in front of me for this process, and imagining myself as Moses and holding the staff in my hand and calling on Hashem to completely move the obstacles and part them so that I could move with ease and grace to the promised land. And so as I'm standing there, and this energy, this energy, source energy of Hashem is falling upon me, I felt like everything's shifting inside of me. I can't control everything, though sometimes I want to. But when I completely let go and allow and have faith through the process, and really embody the knowing that Hashem is there for me no matter what, everything started to shift. And as I'm reading further in the parsha, and I get to MiChamocha ba'elim Adonai, MiChamocha nedar b'chodesh, nora tahilot osefele. This Shabbat is Shabbat Shira coming up. And this is our prayer of allowing Hashem to bring us forward out of all of the obstacles. And praising Hashem. And so, as I read that, it just reminded me. Something that I noticed while reading is, it talks about Moses experiencing this divine strength, which we know as we read this part that there's a direct correlation with the angels in this moment. That, of course, the duo team of the archangels are standing right by Moses, creating a bridge, a portal to allow for free entry through, the Red Sea and leaving Egypt, departing the Exodus, And so, as I read this, I'm hearing the strength, and that is Archangel Gabriel. And I started thinking about this, and I said, wow, God is my strength. Gabriel, my name, my Hebrew name, once again, literally is reaching out to me. Hashem is connecting me with Archangel Gabriel, saying, you have what it takes to have this inner strength and know that everything's going to be okay no matter what is in front of you. It doesn't have to make sense. And then you see when we get to MiChamocha ba'elim Adonai, MiChamocha is one who is like God, which is Michael, Archangel Michael, who I have a very strong connection to as well. And so I'm just envisioning Michael on my right and Gabriel on my left, holding me up and energetically moving me forward through this process. The first time that I was consciously aware of Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel and Archangel Michael presenting their energy to me was when I was at my granny and grandpa's house, and there's some weird stuff going on, and I was asking for Hashem to help me clear the energy there. And as I was doing this clearing, Archangel Gabriel appears energetically to me. Again, it's a feeling, it's a knowing. And then Archangel Michael presents, and it was so wild to experience this energy and how when we ask, we receive, we are lifted up by the angelic energies, with Source, with Hashem facilitating this process, this beautiful divine moment. And so, going back to reading the Parsha, as I'm experiencing this, I read further and I see Moses' sister, Miriam, is now dancing in joy because they have made a divine free passage out of Egypt. And it's so wild because as soon as that moment happened, and I am talking to Renata, and she's sending me certain songs for me to listen to through this process, and then on the other chat in WhatsApp, I'm talking to Miriam. I said, wow, Hashem, you are very literal with me. And you have always had my back and provided a shelter for me. Why would I think this is different, especially entering Israel, Yerushalayim? And so, moments later, after I'm talking with Hashem, and I said, I don't know what you want, but I'm here. Hineni. Please direct me. I'm open to trying a new airline. I'm open to whatever you want. Whatever you want me to do. And so I just, for a moment there, said, okay, fine. Maybe I'll check to see if, if there's any flights available through LL. And as soon as I see this, I see a good flight that could potentially work. Though it didn't feel as though I was taking it. So I reached out to Miriam and I asked her, what should I do? It's getting very close to time. I have about an hour and a half before I really need to get to the airport. And if I'm going to take this particular flight. And so she says, hold off on booking that flight. I'm on the phone with the Ministry of Health. I am working something out and seeing what we can do. Moments later, that moment of Miriam dancing presented itself because I received a message from her saying, you're in. We've got it. You have entry into Israel and you have a green pass for a month. And I was, wow. I literally immediately started to praise Hashem as I was just doing. And continuing that energy of this feeling of liberation, of this MiChamocha moment. And in so much gratitude. This is the journey that I've been waiting for. This is the journey that I've been asking for. This is the journey that Hashem has promised me. And one thing I've noticed is if you have everything taken care of for you, if you have every answer to a question, it gives you no room for a miracle. It gives you no room for growth. It gives you no room for a divine connection. If everything goes perfectly and smoothly your whole life. And though I've been through many obstacles, it has taught me strength. It has taught me my divine connection with Hashem. If I didn't have those moments, I don't know who I would be today. So I encourage you, the moments where you are in disbelief and don't know where to go or what to do, Hashem is knocking at your door, tapping you on your shoulder, and asking you to take a moment and breathe in deeply. Feel that ruach, that spirit that's entering through your nostrils. The same ruach that Hashem breathed in to Adam, and filled Adam with life, chayim. So the next time you're in a moment, take those moments. Take those pauses. Because that's when Hashem speaks. Hashem speaks and allows for you the opportunity to have clarity. Maybe not in the physical evidence of the world of how things are being told to you in that moment, but through a divine feeling of trust and faith and an inner knowing that you're always taken care of, that you're divinely taken care of. In the shelter of peace, Sukhat Shalom, is surrounding you, allowing for the Holy Shekhinah to move and deliver you through your obstacle into Pardes. I went on the airplane, went to the airport, was granted access, went on the airplane, had the most beautiful journey. And I was able to ride in first class for the first time on an international flight. And it was so magical. The people I spoke to on my journey, the continuous blessings flowing down, because I had the strength and I had the guidance and the trust in Hashem and the support of my family and my friends, my soul family, guiding me through, cheering me on. And when I received, access into the country and walking through the airport in Tel Aviv, my heart was overwhelmed. For that moment, I felt the energy that King David, felt when he was overwhelmed by the energy that he felt with his connection with Hashem. And a little bit of sorrow as well for the moments that I didn't trust, the moments where I wanted to control things. And consciously remembering it for the moment that I'm in a similar position, that I remember this and what Hashem has done for me, the miracle that was provided for me. And how everything became okay, more than okay, divine, as I found the perfect being to take me to my Airbnb in Jerusalem. And then having a beautiful sleep and waking up and realizing where I was. And then speaking to my family back home and my friends. And finding food that my friend Renata graciously helped me get during this time of the 24-hour quarantine. And not having an Israeli SIM card. When you ask, you shall receive. It's not about expecting a miracle. It's about knowing that it exists. Knowing that your connection with Hashem is important and divine. And that anything is possible when you ask from a place of a pure heart. Create in me a pure heart. Create in me a pure heart. Well, thank you all, divine, beautiful souls, for listening to my journey. And I can't wait to speak more with you about the blessings that are ahead of me, that I will deliver to you of the messages that Hashem has for me to deliver. This is Energy Speaks Podcast with your host, Catriel. Shalom.